Alright, what's going on, everybody? This is Bio here, and this is going to be kind of a continuation or part 2 of the roommate story that I started a couple weeks ago. And if you want to check out that video, just kind of get a refresher on it, you can go ahead and check the link in the description, or I'll make it so you can click on the video right now. Yes, indeed. But, yeah, and you have to forgive me here if my teeth get kind of chattery, like I'm in like a Scooby-Doo show or something like that. I'm in my car right now, and it's a tit-bit nibbly, as one might say. It's about 0 degrees Celsius right now. Oh, Bio, why are you using the Celsius scale? Well, as it turns out, more of my viewers are from outside the United States than inside the United States, so I'm just going with the majority here, people. Don't get offended. But, yeah, so anyways, just a quick refresher. Scott, Scumbag Scott, as he is formerly known around the house, he's kind of a household meme right now. Scott moved in about the middle of October, took over from our previous roommate James, who's now out and about because he had to work, and he didn't think he was going to be working during that time frame, so he moved out. Anyway, Scott moved in, has been living with us since then, kind of. It hasn't really been there much, but so it started off about the middle of November, about a week before Thanksgiving. Scott leaves, which is kind of early. You usually don't want to leave until about Thanksgiving, because otherwise you're going to be missing classes and missing work, but he leaves, and we're just like, all right, whatever. He's probably going to see family, took some time off. Then Thanksgiving rolls around, and then we come back to our apartment, and Scott still isn't there even a few days after Thanksgiving, so we call him up, say, hey, what's going on, Scott? Where are you at? No reply, nothing, and we're starting to worry a little bit because the rent and all the utilities for November is due at that point. And so we're like, crap, now we're going to have to front him up until he gets back or something. And then about December 3rd rolls around, and I get a call or a text from Scott saying, hey, I'm in jail, hold me down for the rent. I'm just like, what the hell are you talking about? What? So, kind of did a triple take there, not even a double. It was definitely triple worthy. But yeah, it turns out he's in jail. Kind of threw me for a loop, and I asked, when you out, what are you in jail for? WT, and I was like, what the hell? So, tells me he's out on the 13th, and that he's in there for a hunting-related incident, which he doesn't really go into more detail, and to this day I still don't know exactly what it is, or if he actually was even in jail, because I tried looking it up on an inmate search, and it didn't come up with his name anywhere, so I don't know if he was just lying, or they just never put up his stats. Did he go positive? Yes. But anyways, that's kind of what happened basically in that video, but coming to the here and now, so December 13th rolled around. I texted Scott. I'm calling him every day since the 13th because I don't get a reply, so I'm trying to talk to him on the 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th. Nothing. I get zero communication from him. So eventually, the former roommate James looks up his dad, looks up his information, so we can at least get a hold of somebody and try and find out if he's been in contact with anyone, what's going on, where is he? Is he just dodging us? Is he going to try and sneak into our apartment one day and get all his stuff out so we don't sell it to pay off the rent, which we are honestly considering, on top of me hiring some kind of hitman mob on him or something, because I am Italian, so stereotypes be damned. But so we're thinking of doing that, but anyways, we get a hold of his dad, and we let his dad know what's going on. Scott hasn't been around. He hasn't been paying the rent, utilities. He owes for last month. This next month's coming up, and his dad just kind of, shakes his head and is like, yeah, Scott's been kind of on this path for a while now. I hope he'd finally gotten off of it when he moved in and got this job, but looks like he just wants to, destroy himself, basically. And so his dad was hoping, and it was kind of awkward for me and James when we went there to talk to his dad, because his dad looked like really heartbroken about it, which kind of sucks, you have to tell the father about how screwed up his son is at this point, and how he's destroying himself, kind of self-immolation here. And I could tell it really hurt him, so that kind of sucked, and that was a little awkward, but we gotta do what we gotta do. We can't be paying his rent and he's not really contributing towards utilities technically since he's not there, but we can't just be paying his rent. It's just a ghost room basically, so we had to do it, unfortunately. But so what we did is he helped us move out all Scott's stuff. We didn't sell any of it. We thought about it, but we decided it'd be better just to get rid of it all, not worry about it, because it does take a while to sell stuff, even if Craigslist, eBay, whatever. But we got all the stuff out, and we're trying to hook up a new roommate, and this time we're definitely going to be doing a lot of things differently. But yeah, when we were trying to find people to call, contact, like his dad or Scott's dad or mom or whatever, we found out a lot more about Scott. One of the things being that he's actually 30 years old, which kind of blew our minds because he does not look 30. So he told us he was 26, and he's actually 30, so it's like, oh boy, and he has a baby face. He looked like he was 20, And all of us that are in the apartment right now, we're in our early 20s, so it definitely kind of shook us a little bit that we had a random 30-year-old living in our place. It's like creeper, but no, but not really. But it just kind of blows your mind. It's like, wow, this guy does not look 30 at all. And we saw one of his mug shots, because it turns out, and here's another thing that pissed us off. It turns out he actually been to jail twice previously. He'd only told us of one other incident that he was in jail besides this hunting thing now, which I still don't know if it's true or not, because like I said, I did the inmate lookup and I couldn't find him. But it turns out he'd been to jail twice previously. One we knew about, which was for skateboarding on government grounds, something like that. He did it twice and got caught, and that was when he was a minor or something, so it wasn't a big deal. But then on top of that, it turns out he was impersonating an officer back in September of this year, which was the beginning of the school year, which wasn't that long ago. And not only that, but he was impersonating an officer to commit a crime, which means he was impersonating an officer so he could do something else that was illegal, which is, kind of insane. Scumbag Scott at it again. So once we saw that once again, we kind of had our minds blown back a little bit. So we're definitely going to do a lot of things different this time. We're definitely going to screen the next roommate much more effectively than we did this one. When we screened roommates this time, we had a couple candidates that were looking at the room. They came over, we talked to them. We saw what kind of jobs they had, what they're going to school for, and that kind of thing. Scott was in graduate school, had family nearby. He was working almost full time. So we're like, all right, this guy's got his shit down. He's got his priorities right. He's getting good grades and all that kind of crap. He showed us some of his work. He was in organic chem, which is not that easy for those of you who have tried it before. It is not easy at all. But, so, like, all right, this guy's got his stuff down. But, unfortunately, that was not the case. All the signs pointed one way, but then reality kind of shifted us in another direction, so it was a bummer. But then another thing that really kind of sucked that we should have paid attention to more of was that Scott never turned in the paperwork to formally put his name on the lease, which technically isn't really our responsibility. It was the responsibility of the person who was living there previously to make sure that paperwork got signed and transferred over. So, he brought in the paperwork to transfer the lease over to Scott's name instead of the former roommate. And Scott, he signed it all in front of us and did it and whatnot, but he never actually handed it in. He just kept it in a filing cabinet that we found when we cleaned out his room to get someone else in there. So, it's kind of another lesson to be learned here. So two things so far for those of you, there are two things to be learned so far for those of you who are moving into an apartment or are going to be in a similar situation very soon, is that number one, make sure you screen your roommates as best as you can to the best of your abilities. And in fact, I would recommend moving in with people that you already know, that you've already been friends with, if that is a possibility. It's two of my roommates I'm good friends with. I know that they're responsible and that they're going to get their shit done. And so I know that I don't have to worry about them, and I haven't had to worry about them. But the one time we get some random schmuck in there, look what happens. So make sure you screen your roommates and check their criminal records. Gosh dang it, I can't believe we didn't even think of that. Looking back on it seems so obvious, but hindsight's 20/20. Screen your roommates. Second thing is, if and when you do transfer paperwork over, make sure it actually gets turned in. Physically see the paperwork get turned in to the landlord, that is signed and dated and stamped if it needs to be and all that stuff. We did not do that, and thankfully, it doesn't really hurt us still in the apartment. It really hurts the guy who moved out, because he is stuck paying that rent now until we get someone else in there and stuck paying for all that stuff. So that really sucks for him that he didn't make sure that happened. So, just a couple lessons to be learned. But thanks for watching, guys. I do appreciate it, and I will see you later.